This is a chapter 1, part 2. And we left talking about humanism, behaviorism. Well, the third psychology we're going to talk about is cognitive psychology. And cognitive is very specific because it's only concerned about how people learn, how information is processed. And so we have three cognitive psychologists, Ausubel, Brunner, which we will talk about in chapter 7, and then, of course, Piaget. And so cognitive psychologists study learning. So we have to have a definition of learning. And a definition of learning is a change of behavior due to experience. So L equals delta, which means change, little b for behavior. Arrow means yields or due to experience. So if we have learning, we have to have behavioral change. If we have behavioral change, then we have learning. Now, what the cognitive psychologists have decided is that in teaching, to get learning to the students, we have a three-stage process. Stage 1 is before teaching. Before teaching, we determine goals, we decide the methods, we get the materials, we decide on assessment. Stage 2 is actual teaching. And then stage 3 is the reflective process, which we talked about before, and evaluation of the teaching. And the last name that we have in the chapter is Pajaris, and Pajaris believed that your beliefs about teaching determine how you teach. He believed that by the time you get to college, you already have an idea of how you want to teach. So the college education doesn't teach you how to teach. They teach you how to do methods and IEPs and lesson plans and stuff like that. And Pajaris is very important to me because my dissertation for my PhD was teachers teach the way they were taught, not the way they were taught to teach, which means that you teach because you take things that you, in your 16 years of education, 4 years of college, and you take what you liked, and you're going to use that, and you don't, and you say, I don't think that was a good idea, and you don't use that. So the fact is that I think I kind of agree with Pajaris, obviously, that teachers are kind of born, they're not taught to be teachers. The last thing is the book talks about the 5 types of research that a educator would do. One is longitudinal, where you study a large group over a large period of time. Harvard did a study that took 50 years. The people who started died before it finished, but that's a major longitudinal study. Then you have a cross-sectional study where you study different subjects at different ages. So we may study them at, in 6th grade, then in 10th grade, and then in 12th grade. Or we compare students of different age groups. Descriptive study is you describe what's happening. It's kind of like natural observation. You don't do anything. You just say what's going on in class. And then the other one, action research, is what most educational psychologists do. That's when you have a problem in the classroom and you study ways to solve that problem. And then finally, we have the famous correlational study where we have relationship between 2 variables and we study those. And with correlation study, we cannot prove causation. We assume causation, we can't prove causation. So, hold on a second. Sarah, stop it! Quiet. Okay. 2 dog crazy. Okay. So that's the one they're barking. Anyway, if both variables goes up or both variables goes down, that's a positive. If one goes up and one goes down, that's a negative correlation. I don't care if the correlation is 100%, you can't prove causation. That finishes chapter 1. We'll see you in chapter 2.